Hunter x Hunter fans everywhere, welcome to the 5th episode of our post-anime recap series. Before we start, we got some huge news about the series. Stay tuned until the end of the video. Also, you've got 4 episodes before this one. Make sure you've watched them, as the events are all connected. Thanks for your legendary support, you absolute legends. I love you all from the bottom of my heart. Let's jump in. The spiders gathered around Hisoka's body to confirm his death. They realized the explosion didn't kill him. He suffocated, surrounded by over 100 puppets. With Hisoka dead, the spiders had no reason to stay and left. But Maki said Hisoka paid her up front to stitch his wounds post-fight, so she'd honor the deal even after his death. Shalnark and Kurapika left, while Maki closed Hisoka's eyes and began marking areas to stitch. Suddenly, a strange Nen aura surged around Hisoka's body. Maki didn't understand, but recalled how Nen can grow exponentially stronger after death. Then, Hisoka's body twitched, his heart started beating, and his lungs kicked back in. In his final moments, Hisoka had ordered his Nen to activate post-death, compressing his heart and lungs to revive him. Unsure if it would work, he figured he had nothing to lose since he was already dead. Luck was on his side this time. Hisoka opened his eyes and stood up fast, shocked to see Machi beside him. He asked if he was really dead. She confirmed yes. Hisoka laughed, admitting facing Chrollo was tougher than expected. Machi said, "Good you learned. Next time, pick your opponent and battlefield more carefully." Hisoka didn't respond. Machi offered to stitch his wounds, but he refused, fully repairing his body, even his severed limbs, using only his gum. Machi was stunned but hid it, saying she'd leave since he didn't need her. Hisoka stopped her, saying she misunderstood. Learning his lesson didn't mean he'd be more cautious. It meant he'd make his enemies think twice before facing him. Machi, impatient, said she got it and just wanted to leave. Hisoka leaned in, saying he meant the spiders. Machi tried to attack instantly, but Hisoka grabbed her arm, asking her to deliver a message. From now on, he'd dedicate his life to killing every spider. Furious, Machi warned that if he touched any of them, she'd kill him herself. Hisoka mocked her, saying, "Free yourself first before talking like that." In an alley, Chrollo spoke with Shalnark about Kakin's Dark Continent expedition, saying they likely want a priceless treasure on the ship, which the spiders would steal. Chrollo mentioned losing the needles, but keeping Shalnark's phone. Shalnark said he didn't need it now, but Chrollo promised to return it on the ship. Meanwhile, Shalnark waited for Kurapika, who was behind a wall. Suddenly, Hisoka appeared, holding Kurapika's head. Shalnark charged, catching the head. Real, not a fake. Within seconds, Shalnark was dead too. 2 spiders down, 10 to go. Hisoka's out to empty Chrollo's book before facing him again. The scene shifts to Kakin. The big day arrived. Thousands gathered at the port to see the massive black whale ship. A historic moment broadcast worldwide. The host hyped the king, who stood on a high platform in lavish clothes and jewelry, promising his people the Dark Continent's treasures. Beyond was introduced as the expedition's overseer, followed by the royal family, risking their lives for the people's prosperity. At least, that's the story sold to the public. The king boarded via airship, followed by the princes and VIPs, while commoners entered via small boats. The journey begins tomorrow, but tonight, the king allowed celebrations across Kakin's streets, as this event will go down in history. Inside the ship, the princes and elite gathered at a lavish party. His ship, guys, has 5 decks. The first for the king, princes, and top politicians. The second for the rich and famous, and the third and below for commoners. Strict security separates decks, especially between the second and third. with thick walls only openable from the second deck in emergencies. The head guard of Prince Benjamin gave orders, saying attacks wouldn't start without the prince's command. The princes meet once weekly, every Sunday at a dinner, and otherwise, no two princes can meet simultaneously due to strict schedules. Meanwhile, Kurapika was with the queen in her private suite, reassuring her he'd find a way to avoid the succession war. He asked if she could contact other princes or queens via phone. She explained lower-ranking wives can't contact higher-ups. She's the lowest, and the army monitors all calls. She said assassination is impossible under Kakin's laws. Not understanding the king's plan, Kurapika noted that for ordinary people, assassination is impossible, but for Nen users, anything's possible. So he trusts no one, not even his guards, who might hide other motives. Kurapika's paranoid, unsure if his suspicions are justified or if the mission's pressure is making him overly sensitive. Then, Nana, the ox called, reporting chaos on the lower decks, high crime rates, beatings, theft, and people with forged tickets. He and Bodabai were helping security control things before they worsened, so they'd miss the Zodiac's pre-departure meeting. Nana added that Kakin neglected medical care on the lower decks, especially the lowest, with no doctors, while the first and second decks have 1 per 20 people. Cheadle had to hire and distribute new doctors, so she was too busy for the meeting, which was canceled. Nana warned Kurapika to stay cautious, as he couldn't call again before departure. After hanging up, Kurapika saw the lower deck chaos as an opportunity. He told the queen that if a riot or fire broke out below, the gate between decks might open for support, letting them slip to the lower decks and blend with commoners to avoid the succession war. He asked her to memorize airship, lifeboat, and flotation device locations and learn their use, as any knowledge could save her and the princess. The queen trembled. Kurapika asked if she was okay. She admitted she'd prepared to die on the ship, but his hope for escape overwhelmed her nerves. Kurapika had guards take the queen and princess to their bedroom, assuring her he'd handle things. Suddenly, he felt a terrifying Nen aura from the princess, but saw nothing when he turned. Kurapika couldn't process it, but he knew the road ahead wouldn't be easy. The ship officially set sail, with thousands watching since yesterday. The 2-month journey begins. The first 3 weeks navigate known human waters, followed by refueling and maintenance before heading to the Dark Continent. Due to bad weather and mysterious creatures, the ship will be sealed. In a third-deck room, some Zodiacs and hunters discuss the route. Commoners and the royal family will disembark at a new, unannounced continent, not the true Dark Continent. Only hunters will continue to the real Dark Continent, stopping at a small island to store food and supplies. 2 hunters will transport resources to and from the continent, but they still need more help, which is hard to find. On the first deck, Beyond's locked in his cell, per the contract, guarded by 3 Zodiacs. Kanzai thinks it's overkill and a waste of time. The horse suggested rotating shifts to support outside efforts. In an unknown deck's room, a permit agency employee read Don Freak's book about the Dark Continent, urging others to read the Maze City chapter. He said if one of them dies, he'd take their spot. Vei laughed, saying his death was unlikely, and even if he died, they'd go first. They trusted hunters to protect them and asked him to forget them when promoted. Other Zodiacs managed the lower deck's chaos. Cheadle monitored medicine stocks. Nana met with Kakin's army. And Bodobai tried offenders. But Kurapika's situation worsened. He found a guard's body in a bathroom, blood drained, with bite marks everywhere. Realizing it was a Nen attack, he asked the other guards about Nen. Only 2 spoke, claiming ignorance. The body was handed to the army. Kurapika asked why the others stayed silent. They said their job was guarding the queen, not meddling outside, and they'd avoid trouble. Kurapika realized they didn't know about the succession war, hired by Pariston without meeting the queen. Their ignorance meant Pariston also knew nothing, reassuring Kurapika as the only one with full details. The guards left, refusing to follow his orders. On the first deck, a dinner gathered princes, VIPs, and the wealthy. Prince Benjamin watched his siblings with a fake smile, secretly despising them and craving their deaths by his hand. As princes returned to their rooms, Kasho tried leaving with her twin, Fujitsu, but the king's aide stopped them, citing rules against 2 princes together. Kasho said she'd just walk Fujitsu to the corridor. Fujitsu innocently asked about the war, but Kasho's domineering side emerged, saying they'd team up to kill the others. Then she'd beg their father to spare her. Fujitsu reluctantly agreed. Melody, guarding Kasho, saw her hypocrisy, hiding her true nature. While escorting the queen to her room, Kurapika found 4 more dead guards, blood drained the same way. He asked a guard what happened, who claimed he was busy and saw nothing. Kurapika pulled his chain and gun, ordering the queen to stand behind him. He said he'd ask questions, and if they lied, his chain would move, and he'd shoot instantly. And here we stop. Huge news, Hunter x Hunter fans. Yoshihiro Togashi, our legend, just shared on X that he's back working on new chapters, recently finishing background specs for Chapter 413. He's pouring his heart into the Succession War arc, and we're so thrilled he's feeling better and creating again. This is the comeback we've all been dreaming of. Massive thanks to you, our incredible viewers, for your non-stop support. You're the real MVPs, keeping this community alive. Catch you in the next episode.